Hey, what's up, man? Hey, welcome to my channel, man. T Mark Speaks. Um, I'm T Mark, man. I just want to start out, man. Just thanking the Most High, man, for a chance to speak. You know what I mean? Upon my life, um, my testimony, and the things that I'm doing, in my life. Um, I come from humble beginnings, man. From Ponchatoula, Louisiana. I was born in Independence, Louisiana. I moved to Houston, Texas, at a young age. So, I know a little bit about moving place to place, you know, hardship, doing things. So, like we started my journey in music. My grandfather, my uncles, musicians and blues bands, been for years. My grandmother and my auntie is musicians, leaders, in the church realm, spiritual realm. You know what I mean? And they really put the groundwork of music in me. I started off young. In the choir. You know what I mean? In school, I was in music. You know what I mean? Really didn't uh, really get into sports like that. You know what I mean? I was more of a music, type of person. You know what I mean? Like after school type things, and you know, but it led me to music. Everything led me to music, man. I got my first deal when I was in Houston, Texas. You know what I mean? Um, but with a low budget record label, and so being my partner Pete, his name Pierre Lowry, and he taught me everything about music. So me being an inspirational gospel artist, man, you know what I mean? I really didn't see myself doing it at first, you know what I mean? It was embedded in me as younger, but as I grew older, man, it kind of just went away because of things in this world. I got entangled with, the lifestyle, the rappers, you know what I mean? And my environment started taking over. So, I kind of pushed away from the gospel aspect of it, spiritual aspect, as you might want to say. But it came back around to me, you know what I mean, when I was in Houston, Texas, you know what I mean? And you know what I mean? Like I started recording, I started doing mixtapes, at school, start beating on the desk. I remember days doing that, and just really, music really just started to be a part of me. Freestyling, you know what I mean? In a classroom, you know what I mean, while we doing work. And so, I would start getting into music in Houston, recording my first freestyle, recording on sound recorder and things like that. And so, but I still wasn't rapping about, helping people or whatever like that. It was more like trying to get on. And so, some things happened, and I ended up moving back to Hammond with my mother and father. And so, I got into all kind of stuff then. I started seeing about the club scene. I started seeing about, uh, with the drinking and the smoking and things like that. And it's kind of like it started to have an effect upon my life. My life started to go down. You know what I mean? As far as the music, we had studio equipment. Me and my cousin PJ, I linked up with him, and we got a whole studio. But you know what I mean, and build the studio up. And so, but I was talking about death. I was talking about what the club was around my surroundings. I really didn't, you know, um, I really wasn't into my spirituality, turning my life around and and repenting and giving my life over to God type thing. It was just more like I'm trying to make it out of my where I'm at, out of my situation, out of my hood, and so but I've learned a lot, as far as the club scenes and the, talking about different things in the music, like death and popping pills and things like that. I knew about that, you know what I mean? Hopping in the studio and branding myself, putting out a product, but I didn't have peace in it, you know what I mean? And so God started working on me, man. I was smoking one day, and I had a near-death experience smoking with my partners there in the studio. You know what I mean? And so my life did a 180. Real quick, you know what I mean? And I started thinking about my life and stuff and started to try to, make that change, but still couldn't really get to it, you know what I mean? We still in the studio. I'm recording my first single, my first two singles at the time, and, Clean as a Whistle and, and another joint. And, I was going to have my big break, you know what I mean? We was hitting the radios up, you know what I mean? Radio stations up. We was hitting everything up, but, I still didn't have no peace inside, man, doing it. You know what I mean? And, I went to a couple of more situations with the weed. And so, smoking the weed, blanking out, seeing different creatures and things, you know what I mean? I thought it was demons, you know what I mean? And so, I still didn't get it, even after God had mercy on me, the first time, you know what I mean, trying to get me to, take another turn, you know what I mean, give my life over to him. I didn't know what giving my life over to him was at the time, but I was just like, I know I had a calling, and at the time I was doing that music about death and stuff, I was an atheist. I ain't believing nothing about the Most High God, I ain't believe nothing about it. And so, fast forward, I stopped doing music. I couldn't even write. I went to the studio. I couldn't write or nothing. I was telling PJ, I was like, man, I can't write, man. He had all the beats, man. We had the top notch, everything, and I couldn't do it, And so I stepped away from it. I stepped away from that lifestyle, you know what I mean. And I wanted to change my life. And then I was going through a lot of stuff with my baby mamas at the time. My son was just born, So that kind of fueled me to continue to do rap. But God was saying something different. He was telling me, no, get away from that. You need to get away from that, that lifestyle. And so, I was at that point. I was ready to do it because I was tired of living that life. I was tired of living, like I'm confused, like I didn't have no purpose. You know what I mean? And I know I had purpose. So, you know what I mean? I packed up. My mother left. You know what I mean? I left my son behind. I left this whole thing behind. You know what I mean? To start a new life, and I thought leaving would be better for me, you know what I mean? And it did, you know what I mean? I started a new career. I got away from music, you know what I'm saying? I broke all my CDs, all my mixtapes, you know what I mean? And you know what I mean? I threw them in the trash. I didn't want nothing to do with the music after I went through my experiences, you know what I mean? And God told me to leave it alone, And so, I still haven't given my life over totally to him, though. I was still drinking. I still had habits. But, I came to a point in Houston where, I was bettering myself. You know what I mean? I started doing music. I started writing. You know what I mean? As I was pursuing a career, in the medical field. And so, I just started writing again, man. But this time from another aspect, I was doing more positive, trying to tell my story on how, I was on child support at the time. And I was just trying to tell, my story about my anxiety, what I've been through. And so, and how God had changed my life. And I just started writing and went in the studio. And my bro Chris Wardrobe, let me in the studio, recorded my first two singles, man. And I felt like, hey, look, this is my purpose. You know what I mean? Like it came back around again, And so, I started to tell those dreams coming back again. You know what I mean? After God gave me a new motivation. He gave me a new inspiration. He gave me something, he took a lot of things away from me that I didn't need, that I thought I needed. And he replaced it with good, wholesome things. So, at that time, man, I was just trying to better myself with a career. I wasn't really so focused on community, but I was focused on a career. And, I ran into my sister ran into a guy I got a CD from. His name was Change. And, his music changed my life because he was at the corner store, selling the CDs, preaching the gospel. You know what I mean? He was selling them and he was giving them out. And so, it inspired me. I said, man, I got a heart for the streets. I'm from the streets, you know what I mean? I found my purpose. And I called him up. And long story short, I went to his church and I met another guy named David Adiokin, Anchorman, and we formed a group, from that, you know what I mean? And it was more than a group, it was a brotherhood. And then so, we called the Hill City. And so, we just went around different places. I just thought myself, God started to use me, you know what I mean, different places. You know, we went to San Antonio, we went to, you know what I mean, we went to Liberty City. We did, you know, we went different places. You know, Dallas, Texas. We was in all around Houston, giving CDs out. I gave more CDs than I sold. You know what I mean? And you know, this is how I made a living. You know, I eventually, you know, worked and did that. And so, you know, I started seeing, you know, people start calling us out, you know what I mean, to churches and events and stuff, man. And God was using us, you know what I mean. And but eventually, I moved back down to Louisiana, you know, for God wanted me to take some care of some business down in Louisiana because I had my son down there, you know, and I was feeling led to move back down here, you know, because of some things I had, you know, with some brothers and stuff like that, betrayal issues. But ultimately, God was leading me back down to the boot where I reside right now. And I started my ministry, Bought Back Music Group, and you know what I mean, you know, this is my testimony on how good God is, man. You know, He see you, and you know what I mean, He man, He know you, you know what I'm saying. So you know what I mean, this is my little testimony, man, you know, of how God brought me to Brought Back Music Group. And so you know what I mean, I hope it blessed you, man. You know, you can look for a part 2 to this, you know what I mean, of my testimony on how I came out of the music business and came into God's plan and His, you know, in His kingdom, you know what I mean, with music, man, and using it for, you know, the better of our generation, you know what I mean. So you know, Brought Back Music Group, you know, we got some things going on, you know what I mean. We got some products, you know, you can go to www.tmarkraps.com. You can check out some of our products, man. You can check out some of the music that I do now, and just support the movement, man. This is a movement. I'm excited about it, and you know what I mean, God is moving, you know what I mean. So you know, yeah, just stay in touch with me, man. Stay locked in. I got some good stuff coming up, some merch. Got some things that's coming, that's working, you know what I mean. I'm praying for my city. I'm praying for Hammond. I'm praying for Ponchatoula. I'm praying for Tangible Hope, you know, that they give their life to God, you know what I'm saying. And so this is my mission. This is what Brought Back is about, you know what I mean. And I thank you for listening, man, and God bless you.